for you. Well, please be seated. Welcome to Cathartic Tuesday. I did not write anything down about preparation for tonight. Of course, we are all here, and it's not the happiest of occasions. I told myself I'm not going out there by myself, so I have my San Francisco comedian friends with me. And so what I'd like to tell you, though, is when Robin would stop by, and there was always that energy of, is he coming? Is he gonna be here? And I've said this already, but him showing up really built an audience for Tuesday when people didn't know what was here. They said some stand-up comedy show, but when the buzz started, when he might show up, and then when he did show up, and then when he didn't show up, people saw a good show, because I know a lot of funny people who don't have TV shows, right? And no, there's a lot of funny people out there. And when you saw a good show, you said, oh, maybe he'll show up, but it's a good show. But he's one of him and Dana Carvey showing up over and over again. And I think 4 times in the 10 years they were on the same show together. It really helped build the audience for my show. And so I have him to thank for that. But when he didn't perform, he would show up maybe 3 times as much, and he would just hang in the green room. So what I wanted to do tonight in honor of Robin is to create what it was like to be in the green room, just telling stories, comedians telling stories, but all the stories tonight will be about Robin. So I got all my buddies here. The first story I want to tell, I wrote these down. So unprofessional when you got to go to your notes, but like I said, I didn't prepare. I don't know what I was going to say. Well, first, what I wanted to tell right away is there's so many wonderful moments here, but I got so many text messages from people saying good luck tonight, and one of them was Orny Adams, who on one show, Orny was doing a bit about phone sex, and as he's on the phone, he's unbuttoning his shirt. And then he brought me out for some stupid reason, and then I said, what was with the 2 buttons? And then I started unstripping, and then he started stripping, then I dropped my pants. And then he didn't go that far, and then Dominic Millen came out. Well, Robin was in the wings, and when I got off stage, he goes, should I? And he just starts to strip. For those of you who were here, Robin came out in his boxer shorts, and he just stood there like that, and he walked back. And he said to me, well, that's somebody's screensaver. Yeah. I'll tell one other story. Okay. One time after a show, we went to D'Angelo's. I remember that night because Bob Dubek was there, and Clarence Clemens happened to be sitting in a booth. And Robin said hi to him, and then when he came back, it was basically Robin, me and my wife, Bob Dubek, and other people. But when the check came, Robin grabbed it. I said, "You didn't even eat. Like, don't worry, I'll get it." And Robin said, "No, I've made money from many of the movies, I made." And but we didn't eat that much, and so the bill wasn't that much, so he looked at the bill and he goes, well, this will be on Bicentennial Man. So, these are all funny. Whoever wants to come for, oh, that's so polite, Mark, with the raise. Mark Hershon, who's done many improv pieces with him.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight, too. This story actually dates back to 1986. I was part of the Comedy Underground improv group at the Punchline. We were there on Monday nights, which was a kind of slow night usually. Oftentimes, the front row would just be filled with just Swiss tourists that didn't understand English. Mark actually was the celebrity guest host a couple of times for the Comedy Underground, but occasionally Robin would just show up. And I had been doing improv maybe 3 years at this point, and everybody else in the group had been doing it for at least 10, 15, so they were old, really old. And Robin would come up bounding on stage one night. He comes up, and we go into a Shakespeare scene. Now, I couldn't and still can't do Shakespeare to save my life, so all I can do is answer his questions, yay and nay. And everybody else starts coming out because everybody wants to be on stage with Robin. This is '86, you know, he's very popular. The audience is going crazy. And he proceeds to produce an imaginary knife and begins just killing people off during the scene. And by 7 minutes in, the stage is littered with other actors, including me, and he launches into a 20-minute soliloquy, walking amongst our strewn bodies. And I just thought of it recently because we did a pickup improv gig at a club in San Rafael last year, and he just suddenly showed up. I don't know where the call came from or whatnot, and he was just there, and the whole thing on stage with him was so different. He'd become such a giving performer, and you could see that in all of his performance, the sort of 20-year gap between that scene I just described and the way he was now. And my last time with him performing was here on the stage. It was a couple of months ago, actually, and we were doing freeze tag. And I actually just described this on Facebook recently. Somebody froze us, and Robin and I were in a scene here, and we were just like this. I forget why our arms were out, but we were face to face like this, and there was just this moment where he and I are just staring into each other's eyes with that weird smile that sort of, the characters were really mad at each other, but we're just really having a good time. And then I just knew in my head, someone's going to tag me out because they want to play with him. So that's what happened.
No, we're done. That was weird. Sorry. Stories are going to remind me of other stories, but the first time I ever saw Robin was at the Spaghetti Factory on Green Street in North Beach. And Spaghetti Jam was the improv group, and you'd walk in, and then it was a really great place. It was a lot of food and cheap, right? And then you go in the back, and there was this stage, and maybe 3 rows? Maybe that 3 rows for the audience, not much. And I was there, and I was enjoying, because I was going to take classes, improv classes from Spaghetti Jam. So I wanted to see what it was like. And when Robin hit the stage, people would applaud. And I'm like, who is this guy? He had not done Mork and Mindy yet. I was like, who is this guy that they already know? And now, then at Cobb's, a few years later, like maybe 3 or 4, I was at Cobb's Comedy Club on Chestnut Street. And it was the first time I did improv with Robin, but Robin was in the wings with a mic, and he was the voice of my penis. And it was a short set, but it was the, I had to. But all I remember is it was awful because I was doing improv with Robin Williams, and he just made Moscow on the Hudson, and I'm like, I don't know what to say. And if you did improv with Robin on stage, you better be quick because you became the audience on stage, and you started to enjoy him like, I think I'm a performer, but I'm not, so. Now flash forward, I knew Robin off and on from the 80s, as we all did, but when I started Mark Pitt and Friends, and now we're going on our 10th year, I really got to know him as a person, and I got close to him as a person. When I remember I was invited to his birthday party and then his wedding, and I turned to my wife, I go, I think I'm in the inner circle. I was like, I think I'm in his circle. But I got to have so much fun being a straight man for him then at the end. Then I was confident to do improv with him. And it was a night, someone was sitting there, this woman was pregnant, she was 9 months pregnant, it was out to here. And we got off stage, if some of you might have been here, we started doing comedy for her unborn child. We just did it to her stomach, and Robin would go, I never worked this room. I almost blew that job. Is this teat on? Is it on? I remember though, it was like it was a blessing in disguise. Her last name was Hines, and I'm like, oh. I said, are you going to have natural childbirth where they turn you upside down and just, And I'm like, so I feel like I had arrived. It took me 32 years, but I could do improv with Robin. But who's next? Anybody? Stephen Pearl, everybody. Stephen Pearl's here.
Thank you. It's good to be here at this wonderful testimonial for Donald Sterling. What? No, I'm sorry. Oh, I have stories that would curl your hair. With sex and drugs and 3-in-1 oil and celery. No, I'll tell a couple. I have one, I'll tell a couple. One of them was just a quickie. I remember back in the early 80s, when a lot of us were misbehaving, I went to the Holy City Zoo one night. I don't know if you know what that is, a little smelly, little cool cabin on Clement Street, where a lot of magic happened. A lot of us made their bones there, including Robin, and I just went there one night to buy drugs. And I wanted to be tingly and wise, or so I thought. I wanted to sweat on a cold night. Anyway, I go there, I buy a little bit of drugs, and Robin is on stage just riffing his ass off. There are 3 people in the place. 3 people, and he is all over the place. Oh my God, well, I want to do my drugs at home. We'll see you later. I get my drugs, I go home, I do them. Drugs are gone. 3 hours later, I want to buy more drugs. So I go back to the Holy City Zoo. 3 hours later, he's still on stage, riffing his ass off, and the same 3 people are like, whoa, no, don't stop, don't stop. Whoa! I don't know if he saw the same guy I did, but incredible. I know I can riff, but I'm Danny Partridge compared to his Jimi Hendrix. I'll watch more of this, but I'd hurt myself. Oh my God. One other story had to do, it started here at the Throckmorton Theatre, so I think it's kind of pointed. That place that he loved and you love and we all love. I was here. He was doing a show here. I heard Robin's doing a show here, so I come to watch the show, and I'm up at the balcony with Robin's assistant Becky and with her husband Dan. And I asked to Dan, is he gearing up for a show or a tour or something? He says, no. There's this really super rich guy who has a birthday party for himself every 10 years in Vegas, and he hires this incredible talent. This year he's going to be 70, and he's hiring Robin and John Fogerty and Paul McCartney to play for a private party. And I emailed Becky, and I'm just kidding. Well, I have a gig with Pete Best that night at a Domino's Pizza in Burlingame, but if you don't know who Pete Best is, Google it. You'll chuckle heartily. And but if I cancel, can I go? And I'm kidding, of course. And she goes, well, I'm not sure. I'll see what I can do. But what? 3 days later, I get an email from Becky going, yeah, if you can make it to Vegas, you're in. I go, holy shit. Oh, punch me in the eye. Do I still feel this? So my fiance Nina and I rent a car. Couldn't afford the plane ticket. We just took a long drive to Vegas. We see this show. It's in the Wynn Towers. I don't know if you've ever been there, but they would normally never let me into this place. If I tattooed an expensive tuxedo on myself, they would keep going, Jew boy, keep going. But it's 600 people, all this billionaire food I'll never see, a cream of platinum, delicious. Some lobster cum on it, shit I'll never see again. And Robin is the opening act. He goes on, just kicks ass for 45 minutes. Nina and I are pinching ourselves. Then John Fogerty comes on after Robin's done, and his band is slamming. One hit after another after another. I think the super millionaire guy paid him extra money. Don't do the new stuff. The new stuff sucks. Play the old song. There's an extra $50 million. Do it. And Nina and I were sitting in the back of the room while he's playing with Robin and Susan and Becky and Dan. I just told Robin, Fogerty looks good. He has the kind of facelift Bruce Jenner should have gotten. He cracked up. And he does. He does, and he cracked up, and then right after Fogerty does like an hour and a half of just incredible shit, they march us all 600 of us, 602 actually, into this adjacent ballroom, and McCartney comes out with his fucking band, and they're slamming for 2 hours, playing Beatles songs. People are getting teary-eyed, including myself. And I'm like a groupie. I'm running up the stage and taking pictures and running to the back where Robin and Becky and Dan and Nina are sitting and running back. And I just, near the end, he's doing Hey Jude or something. I'm just getting teary-eyed, and I just kissed Robin's hairy hand and just said, thank you. I'm still spitting out hair to this day, but it was worth it. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. And that's my little story. Thank you very much.